Hi guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today we're going to be having a look at the Asus X58 Sabertooth. What we're going to do straight off the bat, because you can see I've got it all set up here, but I've whipped the graphics card out. I'm going to give you a look at the board, give you a look around it so you can get all the visual side of things sorted out, and then I'll talk to you about the actual board itself and the results and everything like that. But as ever, I need to point to the wall because I remember which way I've got to do it now. As ever, the link in the side will go to the full review on Overclock 3D, where you can see all the in-depth testing and all the kind of like graphs and results and all that kind of normal stuff. But crack on and watch the video if you want to actually hear about my thoughts and actually like my personal feelings about the board. But excuse me, anyway, let's get in and have a look at this. Right then fellas, this is the Asus X58 Sabertooth with my Noctua HD14 and the Mushkin Redline Ridgeback, which I videoed the other day. This is just to give you a good look around the board, just so that you, do you know what I mean, you can get a look for the, you know, the way it is and the layout. One thing I will say is there's no power buttons on the board or anything like that, no LCD posters. There's USB 3 as you can see there. And you've got the eSATA and a USB slot there, firewire, all the kind of normal stuff that you'd expect. I've not put a graphics card in it just so that you can actually see the board, and you can see the board with a cooler. Because you always ask me whether coolers fit, and as you can see it all does fine. I think this might be a bit of a Marmite board because there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to like the kind of brown and off brown and the greys, but I've got to admit this is a grower. But yeah, there we go. This is normal SATA 3, this is SATA 6, just so that you know. No power buttons or anything like that on the board. It's normal ATX size, all the kind of normal, do you know what I mean? It's all the kind of normal stuff. But there you go. A good ganders round. Going to pop you back on the tripod, and we're actually going to get into the nitty gritty and talking about the actual board now. Okay then, so you've had a look at the board, so we'll get my kind of blurb out of the way now. Now, one of the things I was quite surprised about with this board is it's retailing at £159 in the UK, which is around the same sort of money as the P6 X58DE and the Gigabyte UD3R V2. So it's down at what I would call the kind of almost like the budget end of the X58 boards, because they're not cheap, do you know what I mean? Anything that goes below that, just completely bypass, because, do you know what I mean? Why would you want a stupidly cheap board that you're going to then stick a £200 processor in? It just doesn't make sense. So anyway, yeah, it's very cheap. Very, very well priced. A lot of people out there are probably going to go, oh, I don't like the look of it, I don't like the green, I don't like the brown. Do you know what I mean? It's fair enough. There's plenty of other boards out there for you to choose from. Most of them, though, I've got to admit, are blue. So this really is, I like it because it is that little bit different. It's not blue, it's not red and black, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, goes in there with kind of a modern-ishy, browny kind of like off-white feel, which I honestly think this is a nice looking board. I honestly expected this to be priced a lot more as well, because when it comes down to the actual clocking and like the benches and stuff like that, it does pretty much perform around the same kind of area as the P6 X58 at stock. But even though Asus, because basically what this is meant to be is it's got a 5-year guarantee, It's part of their Asus Tough series. It's just meant to be bomb-proof. Do you know what I mean? You chuck it in your rig, you leave it. Do you know what I mean? You run it, it works, it lasts for ages. But they don't market this as an overclocking board at all. It just seems to be one of those weird bonuses. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh no, we didn't design it this way at all. But it does overclock like stink. Some of the results I got on this are the best results I've ever got with my 930. Now, I need to explain that my 930 is not the best chip in the world, do you know what I mean? It was obviously from the outside of the wafer or something like that, because it needs a lot of volts to get to places. It doesn't really hold massively high clocks. But this board, literally, it took it right the way up to 4.35 gigahertz, lovely. On some boards would have been 4 gigahertz volts. So the board is very, very good. Held a 4.2 gigahertz overclock for all the benches. Just so, do you know what I mean? It hardly needed any work. It really, if you know your way around an Asus BIOS, you're literally just going to go in there and go bish, 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 bash, bosh, and the board will do it. And do you know what I mean? It won't argue. It's lovely. Amazingly surprised with how easy this board was to work with. But when we, like I said, it performs at stock. So you know what I mean? Stock CPU, 1333 megahertz RAM. Pretty much performs exactly the same as the P6 X58D. Does pip them in a few tests. When overclocked, this board's amazing. I mean, to put it into context, with the stock 5870 and this at 4.2 gigahertz, it was just shy of 20,000 3D marks. And for any of you guys out there that, do you know what I mean, do mess about 3D mark quite a bit, those kind of scores with a stock 5870 are very, very hard to kind of, you know, to get to. You know what I mean? You need the board to be incredibly, you know, well set up with huge overclocks. And yeah, it was absolutely, do you know what I mean, amazing. I mean, we were talking that this thing was punting out scores that, do you know what I mean, we would kind of expect to see with a 980. So yeah, very, very, you know, very, very good board. So at the end of the day, would I buy it? Yeah, I actually think I prefer this over the P6 X58DE. Because it's that little bit different, do you know what I mean? It's not going to be the normal run-of-the-mill stuff that you're going to see everybody else get, that just goes on and grabs something and then buggers off. I honestly think if you're, you know, building yourself a custom system and you wanted an X58 budget board, this would probably be the board to get. Now, because of the clocks, the way this is benched, the price, do you know what I mean? Everything kind of taken into account, this is an amazing gold board. We're going to give it our gold award. And yeah, it's been a very, very good eye-opener, because this is what I would say is what more manufacturers need to do. You need to stop bloody adding on loads of bloody features that people never use or are never likely to use, do you know what I mean? And then making it your top end, you know, top of the range board. Make a board that's got all the features that, and do you know what I mean, like power phases and all that kind of stuff, to cram onto that board, to make it overclock well without all the stupid bloody settings that you're never ever going to use. So you can give us a board that will overclock as well as a Rampage 2 Extreme, for argument's sake, but without all the shit that only extreme overclockers are going to use. So you skim off all the other crap and then give us a bloody good board that the, you know what I mean, enthusiast at home that's just going to be overclocking and playing with their bits and bobs is going to want. And this is about as close to it at the moment, because Asus don't really offer much between the P6 X58DE and the Rampage 3 Extreme. The formula was pants. This kicks the formula all over the place. This overclocks better than the Rampage 3 formula. It's a much better board overall. And as far as Asus's lower end of the market is concerned, this is the best board from them under £200 I've ever had. So there you go, plain and simple. Oh, and another thing is it runs pretty cool as well. The processor with the Rampage 3 Extreme, it is a hot board, and you do notice that the CPU temps can be a little bit higher. But with this, it was, do you know what I mean? With the 930 1.35 volts and all that kind of stuff. The temperatures with the NXD14 were lower than what they were on the Rampage 3 Extreme as well. So yeah, very, very good board. As I said, gold award, so yeah, crack on. Bloody brilliant. Even I would consider buying this for my own personal rig. I've got my remote. I'm a bit hungover from last night because I had a night out, so if you wonder why I'm kind of like a bit scatterbrained today, that's what it is. But yeah, this is Tiny Tom Logan with the gold award winning Asus X58 Sabertooth out.